What's the psychology of why the Secret Service failed so miserably protecting Trump? As you all know, if you're protected by the Secret Service, you're the safest person on Earth.
I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes.
On the roof, he's alive. We have people that right here, flat on the roof.
They're like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on.
Okay, maybe they're better at being secretive than providing service.
He was lying on his stomach, lines up his shot from the roof.
Was on the roof of another building less than 450 feet away from where Trump was speaking, with a clear line of sight.
Was interviewing a SWAT team commander yesterday. Ma'am, 140 yards, your grandmother could shoot Donald Trump from there.
If they can't spot a pew-pew-man with an AR rifle at a political rally, slowly crawling on top of a white roof of a building that was staged for law enforcement's response, they got serious problems.
The agency decided to secure the building from the inside.
The Secret Service had actually identified the building near the Trump rally as a potential vulnerability in the days before the event. But officials say no officers had been posted there.
In addition to them unable to secure such an obvious line of sight, their securing of former President Trump was horrendous.
There are more and more questions about what the Secret Service was doing after the first shots rang out.
This incident was massively blundered and was largely because of their failed psychology. So now let's break it all down and get started. The last carried out assassination attempt on a current or former president was 43 years ago. That's way before many of those agents protecting Trump were born, and likely before anyone currently in the Secret Service was an agent. Let's think about this. Not one agent in the Secret Service was an agent when the last assassination attempt occurred. And this doesn't count as an assassination attempt. Over time, an organization may gradually become complacent, ignoring minor deviations from standard procedures because nothing really bad seems to happen. This complacency can erode their rigor and attention to detail necessary for identifying possible worst-case scenarios.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
To be fair, we witnessed some agents heroically running into the line of fire, fearlessly using their bodies as shields to protect the former president. However, in that moment, we also discovered who's a registered Democrat. There's a lot of talk online about that agent, and to be fair, we don't know her exact planned role in that situation. Also, it's important to point out that one of the other female agents jumped on Trump to cover him with her body.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Initially, people looked at this footage of the police snipers and thought he responded with counter-sniper immediately. But he certainly did not fire at that moment.
Look at what happened.
Sudden movement looking around appeared to be him feeling surprised by the sound of shots fired and got off his scope to look around to identify the location of the fire.
Look at what happened.
Which they eventually took out Thomas Matthew Crooks.
He's on top of the roof. Don't go over there. He's on the roof, buddy.
Who was known to be a horrible shot and died knowing he failed.
He was rejected by the school rifle team. Crooks' aim was comically bad.
The Secret Service seemed to fall prey to the normalcy cognitive bias, which led them to underestimate the possibility of a catastrophic event occurring. This resulted in insufficient preparation and response.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
If you notice here, the agents did not rush Trump off the stage, but instead actually took the time to wipe the blood from his head.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes, sir. Let me get my shoes.
Considered getting his shoes back on. Gave him an opportunity to fist pump the crowd in defiance.
Wait.
And wave to the crowd, exposing him to another possible shooter. And they even oddly made sure that his MAGA hat was safely secured.
Watch out.
In this moment, they felt confident that they neutralized the threat, but apparently they really didn't consider the possibility that there was another pew-pew-man positioned at another location in a coordinated attack. Their slow-moving and lax demeanor allowed for this photo, but this will never happen again and will be looked at by future generations as what the heck is going on, and why does it look like the Secret Service is taking their time getting the wounded president off the stage, nearly posing with him in the midst of such a volatile, devolving, and dangerous situation. The Secret Service will now literally practice this exact scenario over and over, and do you think in their training they will take their time on stage, allowing their principal to fist pump their way out? Right, they will be literally trained to grab, push, and rush their principal off stage and into the armored vehicle as quickly as possible, and then hightail themselves away from the threatening event and directly to the designated hospital. And as you probably noticed, they curiously took their time driving away too. What makes this moment so curious in Secret Service world is that they're not supposed to cave to the wishes of their principal in such a dangerous and volatile situation. The principal will always want to be more visible to his supporters, but it's up to the Secret Service to override that in those situations, forcing him off stage and into an armored vehicle, which offers a lot safer cover than some young agent's hand. Remember, hindsight is always 20/20. We know now that there wasn't a second pew-pew-man, but if there was, Trump would have been dead. And with any highly threatening situation, the Secret Service must always presume that there's multiple threats in the area. The principal will never know the possible security threats because that's not his job and he's not trained to focus on that or even think about that. However, psychologically, the agents likely experienced cognitive dissonance, causing them to be in disbelief that this was the exact moment that they had trained for since being promoted to presidential security detail from busting counterfeiters in Alaska. After a long streak of 4 decades of presidential safety, the Secret Service likely started to subconsciously psychologically believe that they were just window dressing.
Pure window dressing. Let's face it, half the things we do are window dressing. There we are out for show, trying to make the president look more presidential.
We're not actually gonna take a bullet for the president. That's mostly just in movies. Therefore, due to this cognitive dissonance, there's what's called in psychology a situational disbelief, which literally takes time in the moment for minds to change their way of thinking. Think back to when you first heard the news about this. You may have been in disbelief that this was actually an assassination attempt. If each individual Secret Service agent did not have that possibility top of mind that day, their response time to cover their principal would have been delayed. When shots rang out, some Secret Service agents did what they were trained to do, which was to immediately run up on stage to cover Trump.
What happened to our country? Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
As you can imagine, it's psychologically counterintuitive to run into danger knowing you can easily die. In psychology, this is called the self-preservation instinct, a deeply ingrained survival mechanism that prioritizes personal safety and survival in the face of danger, even at the expense of potentially life-saving actions for others. This can be overridden in situations of saving your family or friends in a burning building, but is actually difficult for even the most trained and experienced agents to run up to an elevated stage in the line of fire from their lower, much safer position without any hesitation. They all surely have family, friends, and loved ones, and they don't want to die. Laying down their life for their fellow comrades in combat is very different than risking it all for some rich politician they barely know. It's an incredible moment in American history. The former president literally came centimeters from dying. What physical brain damage would Trump have suffered if he just turned his head? If he would have turned his head, even just slightly, that would have happened. Instead of clipping his ear, the bullet would have torn through his right lateral posterior temporal, right inferior lateral parietal, and right superior lateral occipital, blowing out all those areas. Those brain regions are generally responsible for auditory processing, somatosensory with proprioception, and left visual field processing. He could technically live without those brain regions, provided there's no collateral damage to the midbrain and brain stem, although his quality of life would be quite terrible. However, the hemorrhage from such an extensive cranial GSW would be so massive that it would be extremely difficult to keep him alive. If that would have happened, basically, this is what his brain would have looked like. Some of this medial brain matter may have been somewhat salvageable, but depends how much he turned his head. of those rare moments where we got to see an old white-collar billionaire politician physically and emotionally tested. To see a courageous and physically defiant response like that in the face of a near-death experience is quite rare and very old-school American. Doesn't it seem like a story that our high school history teacher would tell our class about Old Hickory doing? It's death-defying moments and stories like that which make a leader larger than life. This will easily go down as top 5 photos and top 5 moments of this entire century. What's also very impressive is that 78-year-old Trump was jumped on by 4 Secret Service agents and didn't sustain any broken bones or bodily injury. Butler, Pennsylvania is a rural community that is one of Trump's most friendly and supportive crowds, and he visited that exact location recently without any safety issues. In environments perceived as friendly and non-threatening, the Secret Service may exhibit a tendency to lower their guard and relax security protocols. Familiarity with a crowd that has historically shown no hostility can psychologically breed complacency, leading agents to underestimate potential risks and deviate from their strict protocols and procedures. This normalization of deviance may occur as past experiences with similar audiences have been uneventful, psychologically reinforcing a belief that stringent security measures are unnecessary. Additionally, perceptions of trustworthiness within friendly crowds can further contribute to a relaxed stance on security, potentially reallocating resources away from what might be perceived as a low-risk environment. Also in friendly environments, assassins may exploit their security details' relaxed vigilance to more easily target them. If the Secret Service is serious about protecting principals over 6 feet tall like Trump, they need agents over 6 feet tall protecting him. Otherwise, this is what happens. Yes, a wide open shot appears if there was a second pew-pew-man. I've noticed that law enforcement sometimes can't get past thinking that individuals in a crowd who love a person would never hurt that person. Any strong emotion, either love or hate, has the potential of physical violence due to their profound impact on cognitive and physiological processes. When individuals experience intense emotions, their brain's limbic system, which is responsible for emotional regulation, is activated, often leading to heightened arousal and impulsivity. This physiological state can impair higher cognitive functions, diminishing reasoning, and increasing the likelihood of impulsive, aggressive responses. Emotions like love can sometimes manifest in possessiveness, jealousy, or stalking, while hate can fuel feelings of anger and hostility, both of which can escalate into physical violence when they go unchecked. Strong emotions can disinhibit social norms and moral inhibitions against violence, making individuals more prone to act on their emotions without regard for consequences. Anyone who is saying this was all fake so Trump can win the presidential election is just crazy. Trump was already predicted to win big after Biden's horrendous debate performance.
Relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Which seriously called into question his cognitive abilities, so Trump didn't need this. Also, a bystander sadly died at this event, and 2 other bystanders were sadly severely injured. And do you really think the mainstream media such as CNN and MSNBC, who generally despise Trump, would be all in on this too, and would let Trump get away with this? I think a real question about this is, does the current president receive better Secret Service detail than a former president who is running to take a current president's job?
The shooter had been identified as suspicious a full 19 minutes before he tried to assassinate Donald Trump. The lawmakers demanded to know why the Secret Service still allowed the former president to take the stage at his Pennsylvania rally.
Former President Trump made his first real public appearance at the RNC since the assassination attempt and was visibly emotional and maybe even humbled. I hope he focuses his attention on unifying the country. Sometimes near-death experiences changes people. I've had a couple in my life, and they've certainly changed me. Now in the comments, why do you think Trump's Secret Service detail was so terrible? Do you think he was given low-grade Secret Service detail? Let everyone know in the comments below. To finish up, we're going to play for you the assassination attempt as it happened from multiple vantage points.
And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
He's on top of the roof. Don't go over there. He's on the roof, buddy.
When you're ready, on you. Move! Move!
He's dead. I just seen his hair go up. They shot him in the head. Holy
Ready?
if they hit anybody over there.
Good. Shooters down. Good to move.
He number of shots.
Let's move. Let's move.
No, that was him. The first 2 shots were him.
Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. I got you. Let me get my shoes.
He's right there. He's right there.
Watch out. Wait.
We got him.
Subscribe for more.